And we are starting straight away with a pair that have received a wonderful ovation coming from Japan, Aya Kawai and Hiroshi Tanaka. This is their free dance to the music of Otono Poteno and Verono Poteno.
In the free dance, the skater can be lifted, but the man must not lift the lady higher than his shoulder. Change of pace, which is required in all good free dances.
One of Japan's favourite pairs. After the compulsory and the original dance, they find themselves in 23rd position. They've only been together, though, for 4 years. And they've spent a considerable amount of time in France working on their artistic improvement. What did you think, Belinda?
I think that the pace of the dance didn't vary enough, and but they didn't make any mistakes, and they've done a good job of the program that they have. In the free dance, you should be able to show that the technical difficulty and the athletic aspect of the dancing, the steps, the turns, the rotations of ice dancing, all of these sorts of things, and the speed and flow of the dance is really, really important.
AI is a two-time reigning national champion. She's been on the national team for 4 years. He's been on the national team for 8 years.
I think it takes a really long time to develop a really good connection between two skaters, and I think that they're probably on their way to doing this. I think that they've got a long way to go as far as expression of the music goes, but their skills are really all coming there. Very difficult lift, and you'll see all kinds of movements and lifts performed by the ice dancers tonight, which they have no names. They work on them themselves until they feel comfortable with them.
And I just wonder how many perfect scores we're going to see. How many sixes? Grishuk and Platov, 4 at the European Championships just a few weeks ago, and they say they've improved on that routine since then, so anything could happen. But here are the scores for the Japanese pair, first out tonight. And the judges set their level early on and work from there. But they're happy, so too is their coach, who is Tatsuro Matsumura. Now back onto the ice. A pair who finished 24th after compulsories and the original dance. They come from Armenia. She's only young, she's 18, Xenia Smetanenko, and Samuel Gazalian, who's 27. And you'll certainly know this music. From Riverdance.
All these moves are very simple. There's a lot of regular stroking, but they're flowing across the ice really nicely and creating a very nice look and feel. So whilst it's simple, it's good to watch. change of pace for the last 30 seconds.
There they are, the pair from Armenia, Xenia Smetanenko and Samuel Gazalian. This is their first season together, so they've done an excellent job. But here's what you would call, Belinda, a journeyman in the sport. In fact, he's been in a few ice dancing drafts because he is representing his fourth nation, which is quite an extraordinary feat.
Well, I'm surprised he's actually been able to manage that the way the immigration laws are these days. So good on him. This team is very, very inexperienced, but they do have a very nice look about them. They chose a very difficult piece of music, which we'll see Bourne and Kraatz do later on, and you'll be able to compare the difference in the difficulty and technical difficulty of the steps. And they used very simple moves, a lot of 2 feet, but I think that the look that they created was good for them.
He has had some success with former partners. In fact, finished 4th in the European Championships in '95 and 5th in '94, and just missed top 10 in the '94 Olympic Games. Score's about to be semaphored in this second pair for tonight as we build towards a golden finale. And that's going to place them just behind the Japanese. So underway, and as I said, building towards gold, silver and bronze. Are the Russians going to make it 1-2? Well, Gary, we'll just have to wait and see, but it's all coming our viewers' way right around the country throughout the night. Look forward to bringing it to you. But I think what we should do for those people, Belinda, who may have just joined us, is just set the scene a little bit. What we have is 2 Russian pairs who are very, very good. The second pair that beat the favourites last night, but are still in second place overall. A French pair who are also very, very exciting, and a Canadian pair who think that judges have got a few problems.
Well, I don't think Shae-Lynn and Victor are too far wrong of the mark, if you ask me. I still think that all 4 pairs are excellent, and Victor and Shae-Lynn keep on ending up at the bottom end of that pack.
OK, then, well, let me put it another way. They're currently in 4th place. Do they have a chance of medaling?
I think so. I think the river dance program that you're going to see is something special. I think the dramatic nature of Peizerat and Anissina, the French pair, is also fantastic. The passion and sort of sensuality of Krylova and Ovsyannikov is something to see, and then just the outright brilliance of Grishuk and Platov is something worth watching. And after you get to that, it's a matter of how difficult the steps are and the style.
OK, then, well, all that lies ahead. Let's now go back to the action, though, on the ice to complete this first group. A pair from Kazakhstan, Elizaveta Stekolanova and Dmitry Kazaliglia. 23-year-old and 26-year-old. They now train in Boston, and their free dance is to a medley that starts with Istanbul and finishes with Puttin' on the Ritz. When you're watching the ice dancing at home, try and watch for the difficulty of the footwork.
how quickly they're moving their feet, how often they're on 2 feet. That wouldn't be good, so you want to be able to move and turn from foot to foot as quickly as possible, and how difficult and close the partners are. The other critical factor in ice dancing is unison. Are they together, and are they on time with the music? And here comes our change of pace into putting on the Ritz.
From Kazakhstan, Elizaveta Stokolanova and Dmitry Kazalaiga. Finishing with putting on the Ritz. And you might remember their original program where they finished in 22nd place when they danced to the old Bobby Day tune, Rockin' Robin. Both have been on the national team now for 7 years.
In ice dancing, there's no falls or spins or jumps to be able to grade one skater against the other. So you're unable as a judge or even a commentator to say, oh, well, they didn't have a good skate tonight because they didn't land the triple axel. So you have to tell the skaters apart by the strength of the edges and the speed and the difficulty of the steps. And as we're watching here, these moves are really not very difficult, performed well. And they're better off to stick with things that they can really do rather than try and attempt the sorts of moves that will bring them unstuck. Nothing worse than seeing ice dancers go down to the ice. Not a good look. A little bit too much 2-foot skating. That's a very different look.
So the first group here tonight is completed. That is building towards group number 5 that contains Pasha Grishuk and Evgeni Platov, Anjelika Krylova and Oleg Ovsyannikov. Let's not forget Shae-Lynn Bourne and Victor Kraatz of Canada, and Marina Anissina and Gwendal Peizerat of France, all in with a chance of medals. Presentation scores coming through now for Stokolnikova Kazaliga. That's going to leave them in second place behind Denyo and Jafedo. So we're underway here at White Ring. Hope you can stay with us because we're building to what should be a mighty finish to the night. But in the meantime, Butler, Bruce.
I looked down, Sandy. I was a bit nervous, and I thought, boy, I know I can say these two.
Thank goodness for Bourne and Kraatz coming up a little bit later on too. But look, I've got a serious question for Belinda because there's been a lot of talk about the judging, and it's always going to be subjective when you have a sport like this or gymnastics or diving. But what does stagger me, when you've got a rink this size, the judges are spaced out over a distance of probably 25 to 30 metres. Now, sure, that's from Judge 1 to Judge 9. Now, surely Judge 1 is going to see a spin or a jump or a turn or a twist very differently than Judge number 9.
I think they do, and if judges are more than 2 or 3 places out from the final result, they get please explain letters from the referee, and often the judges say...
Could be a few of those going out this week.
Yes, well, probably not in the ice dance because nobody's ever 2 or 3 away. But they will say things like, oh, well, I had a different perspective, you know, particularly if they're Judge 8 or 9 or 1 or 2. It's the judges who are right beside the referee that have the same view as the referee that probably have less to complain about or can use it as an excuse.
Let's go back to the compulsories. Is it a fair comment to say, too, that if you finish 1, 2, 3 in compulsories in ice dancing, more than likely, barring a tragedy, you're going to finish either 1, 2 or 3 overall?
I think that that's a great criticism of the judging of ice dancing at the moment, and there is a lot of discussion about that. When compulsory figures went out from the singles skating, I think the sport only grew. I think that it's about time that that's going to have to be looked at. The spectator numbers for compulsory dances aren't terrific. The free dance is what is the best part because you can choose the music that you like and do the dance that you like, and that is what the people want to see.
Well, this is the pair that Bruce wants to see and also introduce. I should actually let him do it, but we'll have a look at them now on the ice because this is Jessica Joseph from the United States with her partner Charles Butler. Incidentally, 2 very, very talented young people. Charles is a very talented musician. Plays the violin. Now, after the original, they're in 20th spot after coming 21st in the compulsory. They've had great success in junior championships. She's only 15 years of age too, so just remember that when you're watching them perform now. Jessica Joseph and Charles Butler.
I think Jessica's speed and poise at just 15 years of age is amazing. Coming into this event as the World Junior Champion, surprise silver medalist at US Nationals. Oh, that's a shame. And a very lengthy recovery. But now back into the change of music and right back into the dance. Difficulty at this point is a lot greater than the teams we've previously seen and greater than the slow section of their program.
Well, what a shame that fall is going to cost them. How much will it cost them, Belinda?
Well, it can cost between 0.1 and 0.4 if the judges feel that there was a real lack of flow and a disturbance to the dance. And I think probably in this case that there was, because it was quite an obvious sit down and a very lengthy recovery.
The old double cheek combination coming into play once again. But, I mean, you've only got to look ahead to Salt Lake City in 2002. By then, Jessica will be nearly 19 years of age. And if Charles remains a partner, he's going to be 22. And in front of a home crowd, that could be something.
Well, I think that they are great prospects for the future. I think at this age, this is where they had a problem. It's like a hydroblading move of Bourne and Kraatz, and he just couldn't sustain the edge. They kind of fell in time, I must say. Similar position.
You don't get scores for that.
Oh, you never know. They may do. This was a really tricky
You've got to
lift.
get off the judges' backs.
Yes, I do. I think that they have great future. I thought that they were actually too low in the jive, but in the free dance, outside of that fall, very exciting young couple.
Score's about to come up for Jessica and Charles.
The marks for Joseph and Butler.
Junior champions in 96 and 97. And that is going to put them behind Denio and Jaffedo of France in second spot at the moment as presentation comes up.
Presentation 4-8, 4-6.
And there you see the deduction there. The judges have taken in some instances right up to 0.3. Most of the judges have taken 0.2. And I think that they will know that they can do a lot better in the future. And gee, even 1998, only 15.
Yes, great future for that pair. And here's another couple who have tasted success together, Chantal Lefebvre and Michelle Brunet, representing Canada. Again, another musical medley, starting with Always on My Heart.
Traditional Latin feel for their free dance. dance music, by the rules, says it ought to have a beat, must have a beat, that you feel like that you can tap along to. That is quite a difficult move. Sustained edges. Difficult footwork in this free dance, although it is running around the edge of the rink a little.
Well, they're out to become Canada's best, Chantal Lefebvre and Michelle Brunet, but to do that, they've got to, of course, get past Kraatz and Bourne, so they've relocated to Lake Placid, where that pair is, and are training with them. Haven't been together very long, but they've certainly got some style and class, and he's a very good athlete. Michelle is also a fine and accomplished hockey player.
They made no mistakes in this free dance, and I thought it actually improved as it went along. The beginning of the dance to me was a little tame, and then I thought it really picked up. Some of their lifts were very difficult, as we're seeing here. It's already 2 changes of position, 3, right underneath 4. And it takes a long time training to make all those sorts of lifts work smoothly. I think it was a very good performance. I'll be very happy with what they've been able to manage.
They finished in 19th position after the compulsory and didn't move from that spot also after the original. And that performance may well lift them actually over Denio and Geffredo.
There they are with their coach Natalia Dubova, who's also the coach for Bourne and Kraatz.
Oh yeah,
so
she has a few words to say too, doesn't she? Especially about judges. And now for presentation, a reminder, of course, we're building towards gold, silver and bronze, and the big question is, can Grishuk and Platov do something that even Torval and Dean couldn't do, and that's win back-to-back gold medals? Bruce, that we will know a little bit later on. Now, we should just clarify, Navka and Morozov were dancing when the lights went out. They were given the option by the judges for a reskate. They've declined that offer, so the scores that they were given stand. And now we can go to the ice and have a look at the next pair in action, Albina Denkova and Maxim Stavitsky from Bulgaria.
And Maxim and Albina are into the middle section of their free dance now. showing great strength and balance. Very famous Sing 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 piece.
Albina Denkova and Maxim Stavisky. This is only the second year that the two have combined. Albina did have a previous partner. In fact, was with that partner since 1989. But the pair, both students from Bulgaria, pretty good performance, especially Belinda, having to overcome that weight, then warm up once again, and then get themselves into routine mode.
Yes, I think probably tougher for them than the pair before them when the lights dimmed, because you get all psyched up for right when you're going to skate. And I guess this is the classic example of what if preparation. What if the entire preparation is delayed? Difficult lift here. He's holding her in a spread eagle position. She changes position, finishes on that right inside edge, and straight off it into another small dance lift. The girl's feet can go above the man's shoulder, but he can't raise his arms above his shoulders to support her weight. Good blues and jazz piece. Using some of the Glenn Miller classics, orchestrated by John Williams.
And we should mention too that Navka and Morozov, who were dancing when the lights went out, scored reasonably well, and they are currently in first place after 7 pairs, but they were 14th after the compulsories.
The team where the lights went off were actually skating very, very well, and they could have skated that again. They probably felt that they weren't going to be able to do it any better, and of course they would have spent quite a bit of energy in the performance that they'd given. And we're waiting on the technical marks for Maxim and Albina from Bulgaria.
Technical merit 4-7, 4-7, 4-9, 4-8.
I didn't think that this program was incredibly difficult, but I do think it was well skated. I think that they stayed in time with the music, probably didn't express a blues as strongly as you'd need to, and under the circumstances, who could blame them? So they'd be sitting in second place now behind the Belarus pair, Navka and Mozorov.
Coming into this free dance in 18th place, and now coming into the free dance in 17th place.
On the ice, representing
A couple from Italy, Diane Garenza, Pasquale Camalengo. Their original dance was quite exciting, dancing to the soundtrack from Greece, You're the One That I Want. And now their free dance is again a combination of Tsunami by Robert Herner and his percussion and Thunder Down Under.
That is one starting position we won't forget. The costume is Aboriginal print design, and we will hear didgeridoos through this piece. That is a very strong balance move. Teapots together.
Now that is one unusual routine. Two Italians in Japan dancing to an Aboriginal theme. Diane Goresna and Pasquale Kamalenko of Italy. Pasquale's been around for a long time. He was 5th in 1992 at the Olympic Winter Games. And a strong and very talented performance here, Belinda.
I think it was a very brave performance, and I think that they kept the theme that they were trying to explore throughout the entire program. I think I would have preferred if they'd have maybe studied Aboriginal dancing, that sort of tribal music, just a little stronger, but I give them full marks for originality and for continuing the theme from start to finish. I liked the constant beat, even though they did have some changes of pace, and I liked the difficulty of some of the moves they did together. Here we see the one where she goes 180 degrees the other direction, and then Pasquale onto one foot and one hand. So this was a very good move. I didn't think that particular move was in keeping with the music, but I certainly appreciated the difficulty of it. I think the costumes are fabulous. I like the music. It was insistent, and I think that their skating and their expression was insistent. I hope they get good marks.
Firstly, for technical merit. Well, no, you would have thought they'd do a lot better than that.
Well, you tell me, Sandy.
Well, perhaps the judges have been upset by the light. Who knows?
That was a dance from start to finish.
Yeah, now that's going to leave them in second place at the moment behind Navka and Maurizio. So, Bruce, the lights are back on. The action is back on here at White Ring. He turns 23 and his partner is Sylvia Nowak. Music from Evita.
the skaters of the third group, and the speed is accelerating a little bit more. The difficulty is increasing, and the expression a little stronger. Edge work through that section. Classic tango position.
Special arrangement of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Evita by Pierre Sosinski for Sylvia Nowak and Sebastian Kolosinski. She's 21 and he turns 23 today, and they're coached by that famous Natalia Dubova.
She's one very, very busy lady here this evening, and she has a lot of different styles that she has to manage throughout her training program. Essentially, this is, you know, Spanish piece throughout the program.
And just a piece of trivia for you, Belinda, because I know how you love trivia. Sebastian Kolosinski shares his birthday with that famous Brisbane broadcaster, Patrick Welsh. No wonder Sebastian put on a fabulous performance. Just for Pat, who'll be down in the kiss and cry area later tonight and no doubt speaking with the gold medalists.
And here is the lift. You'll notice that the man's hands don't go above his shoulder. Don't think that was quite the finish that they wanted. She maybe should have finished on one foot at that point. This is the edge sequence I was referring to in the middle of their program, where she was on one foot, turning from edge to edge, forwards to backwards.
A reminder still to come in the fifth group. Marina, Anissina, Gwendal, Peizerat. They're currently in third spot. Anjelika, Krylova, Oleg, Ovsyannikov are in second. And Evgeni Platov and Pasha Grishuk are in first place, attempting to become the first ones to ever win back-to-back gold. So all that will be coming your way live on 7. In the meantime, marks for presentation for Nowak and Kolosinski. Well, that'll take them up to top spot ahead of Navka and Maurizio as we cruise towards the halfway mark of this competition. Yes, what a busy night for
On the ice, representing Israel,
their coach, Natalia Dubova. Now, a pair from Israel, Galachait and Sergei Saganovsky. Free dancing to Jewish melodies. He's certainly got plenty of experience. He was the '93 Junior World Champion with another partner. But here he is with Galachait, coming into this free dance in equal 15th position.
Right at the beginning of this free dance, you're really using that down level. And this is quick. Quick footwork and quick across the ice. Traditional use of the music sequencing, going fast, slow, fast. I'll assume that will go fast towards the end. And one blade remaining on the ice during that whole move. A lot of separate skating in this dance. Just made it.
There's Galachait and Sergei Saganovsky from Israel. They now both live in Metula in Israel. Been on the national team for some 4 years and are coached by two former champions in the sport. In fact, they were Olympic medalists in 1980. Takes us back, doesn't it?
You amaze me. This dance, I thought, was too separate. I think it was two skaters skating together instead of actually dancing together. They skated apart a lot of the time. Having said that, let me say this. They were very quick and their footwork was very fast, and that sped across the ice will probably give them greater marks than the Italian pair that we both like so much.
Well, a full house here tonight, and they're all awaiting eagerly as each pair comes out, especially as we count down towards gold, this fourth group, and more particularly the fifth group.
So there they were coming back together again, having been apart. A lot of use of down, medium and up levels, which is very good. And I would have some questions about some of their unison here and there.
Galachate has only been in the sport now for 4 years. And with her second partner, as technical merit scores will come up first.
4-9, 4-9, 5-0, 4-9, 5-1, 5-1, 5-0, 4-9, and 4-9.
And for presentation, marks that will probably now take them up to second spot behind Nowak and Kolosinski. But as we have said, and I hope you can stay with us, the big names here at White Ring are still to come. Now, it's good to be here tonight, Bruce, because as you said, the top 11 are left. And that includes Grishuk and Platov, who are trying to do something that Torval indeed never did do. Back-to-back Olympic gold. This is Sophie Monio and Pascal Levanti of France. Again, dancing to music from Riverdance.
But one step per one beat. Sophie, to me, tonight looks like a little bit unsure on her feet and a little bit unsure on her edges. very good lift. Good unison here.
Well, that is some performance from the Celtic flavours of River Dance, one of the most popular pieces of music at this competition. That is Sophie Monio and Pascal Levanchi of France. It's their third Olympic Games, and that was great.
This is by far the best performance that we've seen so far for difficulty and speed across the ice, and River Dance doesn't call for anything else. We've got 3 river dances that we can compare tonight, and I promise, even though this one is spectacular, the best is still yet to come.
They've had wonderful Olympic careers. 9th in Albertville, 5th in Lillehammer.
I was surprised at their choice of costume. It doesn't actually say Irish to me, but that may be just because I don't know enough about Irish dress. The pieces of footwork where they needed to be quick, they were, and we're seeing it here in slow motion. Remember, it is in slow motion. Very difficult turns, those are called brackets. And here they come into some what you call mirror skating. They're mirroring each other from side to side.
Well, they came into this free dance after having placed 10th in the compulsory, and in fact coming into free dance 11th overall. So when you consider they're 11th overall, think of what the top 3 are going to be giving us a little bit later on. Just fantastic.
Must be very difficult for Sophie and Pascal to have been, you know, bronze medalists in the world before, to be sitting down in 11th place overall, but they wanted to experience the Olympic dream one more time and fought back from her terrible injuries and broken leg, and they put on a great performance tonight.
Yeah, it's a fantastic comeback. I mean, to be out of the sport for some 18 months and to come back at the highest level and perform in the way they have, that has put them above Nowak and Kolosinski and also Morozova and Simicek. So we'll just wait on presentation. Yes, that leaves them currently in first place, but we've still got a lot more to come, so stay with us. Fantastic crowd in attendance tonight, and so good to see so many of the stars of the sport also here as well, including a gentleman I had the pleasure of speaking with earlier today, and he really is a gentleman, in Elvis Stoico from Canada. Only a young man, but by gee, he's got a very good head on his shoulders, Belinda.
Yeah, and he's a lot of fun too. I mean, he's very, very good at the what you would call the media circus, and so he's
very good at it.
Very good at it. Very long answers, keeps going, and very polite. He'll always shake everybody's hand and be a gentleman. And interestingly enough, he feels confident that he is going to be able to be fit enough to appear in the Worlds in, what, 5 or 6 weeks' time? Yes, I don't know whether that's a little ambitious or not, because he does have a really major groin strain.
Yeah, I mean, he could hardly walk.
That's right, he's still limping. Maybe perhaps he'll make it if he has intensive therapy, but I would say it'd be a good 3 weeks before he can even get back on the ice, and doing those quad jumps at the speed and height that he does them, he may in fact re-injure. And then to meet Ilia once again, who was just in superb form and gave us
an unforgettable display.
Well, it was his best performance ever, and he said so when he got off. He could not skate any better than that at the current time, and, you know, a quad and 2 triple axels. What more can there be?
Just at this very minute, what would the Russian pairs be doing? I mean, are they down in a warm-up room just loosening up? Are they probably watching a monitor? What would they be doing?
They'll be stretching and talking to each other and probably staying calm and trying to be as relaxed as possible, but definitely going through a lot of stretching. Some of them might be doing mental rehearsal, doing the free dance in their head, and maybe walking through it together.
Because at this stage, I mean, they've gone through it hundreds of times. They know it backwards. How much of it now is mental?
It's all mental. And it's all about being relaxed and being able to switch right on and be 110% right when you need it to be. So basically what they're doing is bringing themselves up to tune so that they can just fire when the music starts. They'll be very nervous or feel all kinds of things, but the music will start and away they'll go.
Speaking of away we go, away we go. With the group number 4, Irina Romanova and Igor Yaroshenko from the Ukraine. Their music in this free dance routine is The Young Lady and the Hooligan.
This music in the men's singles. Now we'll see its treatment as a dance piece. Watch for how often Igor is on 2 feet in this dance. It concerns me a little, but the speed across the ice is still very good.
Married couple from the Ukraine, Irina Romanova and Igor Yaroshenko. Married back in 1991 and coming into the free dance in 9th position. And would probably be optimistic if they were thinking about improving on that position.
You know, my real feeling about the dance that I just saw was I didn't feel that it was dancing, and when I compare it to Miniot and Levanchi, who are a clear 2 paces below them, in this dance, Igor was mostly on 2 feet, and when he wasn't, it was either basic turns and just crossovers. And Miniot and Levanchi, to me, created a river dance feel, and I didn't really feel lady and hooliganish about this one. I don't think that the difficulty from here was there. Here we see him on 2 feet, that kind of a lift. He couldn't really do anything else. There it is, 2 feet again, and they're regular back crossovers, they're forward crossovers, and that's just jumping from foot to foot. The girl is doing the work.
And really, in the last few years, they haven't moved a great deal in position in their world rankings. They finished 7th at Lillehammer. They finished 8th in the 97 World Championships. They finished 6th in the European Championships. So they're sort of around between 6th and 10th position. But you guess who their coach is?
The marks for Romanova and Yaroshenko. Technical merit. 5-4, 5-3, 5-2.
Well, now those scores I would imagine would surprise you, because you didn't think they'd finish above Moniot and Levanchi of France.
The thing is, I thought they'd finish above Moniot and Levanchi. I just don't think that they should. I'm not a nice dance judge and don't pretend to be. But I know difficult steps and difficult skating, and I didn't think that this routine was as difficult as Moniot and Levanchi, and neither did the German judge.
Well, you and the German judge won't get on very well, but the bottom line is they have. As we go to a pair now who were placed 6th in the European Championships just a few weeks ago. They've been together now for 10 years. They come from Lithuania, Margarita Drobiazako and Pavilius Vanagas. To the music, Oriental Dreams.
Fabulous ice coverage, and Margarita is really creating a terrific aura. Very difficult turns done smoothly. fabulous sequence there, and the speed is still on.
Well, at the moment, the standard is being raised by every pair. Sensational work from a pair who was 16th in the Olympics back in 1992, 12th in 94. They continue to improve. Margarita Gorviazako and Pavilios Vanagas from Lithuania. Interestingly enough, a lot of their choreography work was done by Jane Torvald and Christopher Dean, who, of course, was successful in 84. And tonight, Grishuk and Platov are hoping to do what they never could: win back-to-back gold medals. Grishuk and Platov coming up later.
Margarita and Pavilios wanted to create an Oriental dream, and I think that they've achieved that. The speed throughout the dance was terrific. I thought the beginning was particularly intense until she unchained him and let him go, and I think that that was obvious. Here we see some of these difficult manoeuvres of 3 turns. You see her foot will turn over. She's staying on one foot, but there she goes again. Very good turns, very difficult position to do that in, and still on one foot. That sort of skating is what you're after. It's hard to imagine. I keep reiterating the point that this is in slow motion. And there was the finish. They took a very difficult piece of music and made it work, and I think that all due credit to them, that the marks will probably reflect that.
A chance to move ahead of Romanova and Yaroshenko. And as they came into the free dance in equal 8th position, they are virtually holding down that spot at the moment with those scores for technical and now for presentation. Yes, that will see them above Romanova and Yaroshenko, and also Moniot and Levanchi of France. 8 pairs remaining. And the tension building here in White Ring as we now introduce Barbara Fusar-Poli and her partner Maurizio Margaglio from Italy. 5th in the European Championships just a few weeks ago. Here they are dancing to Amarcord.
Their edge work is excellent. A lot of very flexed positions and very smooth. very difficult move, that one.
Fusar-Poli and Maurizio Margaglio of Italy, 5th in the European Championships behind Grishuk and Platov a few weeks ago. And Grishuk and Platov produced a stunning performance then. They think they can improve on that tonight. We'll be seeing that a little bit later on. Did you like her outfit, Belinda?
The outfit, I think, is appropriate for the music. If free dance...
That wasn't my question. Did you like it?
No.
She made it.
If free dance is supposed to be technically difficult steps and to display the athleticism of ice dancing, then I think that this program achieved it. I do think it moved through a variety of styles. It was like vaudevillian, puppeteering, ballroom dancing, and almost circus-like at the end. And it was fast. The steps are intricate. They are difficult. They're done smoothly. And I think that this program is entirely a matter of taste.
And you didn't like her outfit?
Which is entirely a matter of taste.
9th in the World Championships last year. They train in Milan.
That is a very difficult move.
And they'll be hoping to stay above Drobiazko and Vanagas, and also Romanova and Yaroshenko.
The marks for Fusar-Poli and Gwendal. Technical merit. 5-4, 5-5.
Maurizio does that every time. I think obviously a plan. It's a signal.
5-4, 5-6.
Have a look at your scores, Maurizio, because you'd be fairly happy with those.
Presentation. 5-6, 5-7, 5-7.
Well, they came in
5-6,
6th place after the compulsory and original.
5-7 and 5-7.
They're going to finish probably 6th, 7th or 8th. They can't finish any lower than that, so that's a good performance.
Germany.
Now, from Germany, let's meet two 24-year-olds, Katie Winkler and Rene Loos, who are combining the music from 2000 and Romeo and Juliet by Sergei Prokofiev, and this is the modern version.
Very good unison. They're very close and they're staying together all the time, skating together.
Well, if the German army is watching at the moment, they're probably giving them a standing ovation, because Katie and Rene serve as soldiers in the German army, and it just keeps getting better and better. Belinda?
I think to have spoken too much through that performance would have been a total distraction. I think they created the mood, they created the feeling, they stayed together, their unison was good. I really liked it, I enjoyed it.
Unison was fantastic, wasn't it? They just skated as one.
They skated as one, and they created a Romeo and Juliet for me on the ice, and they created a dance of Romeo and Juliet, and I think that that is what free dance is about. If I had to compare it to the team that came before, I would put this one streets ahead. Make your minds up at home.
Speaker Judge Trussell. Well, they've been skating together for a long time, in fact since 1989, but an excellent performance.
All of their lifts were interesting and they were different, and you didn't know what was going to happen with them next, and I think that that's what I enjoyed about it, and they really picked up small little pieces of the music and used it to great effect. I think that the emotion and the passion of this piece of music was there too. There we are, the clenched fist.
At the moment, Fusar-Poli and Margaglio of Italy lead from Drobiazko and Vanagas of Lithuania. But this pair looks set to vault over them as we count down to the top 5.
It's really getting exciting now, and the standard is really improving. It's great stuff.
Oh, I can feel a murmur, a rumble coming up against the judges again. Belinda is not happy with those marks. That is not going to put them above Fusar-Poli or Margaglio. In fact, it's going to place them probably in 4th spot. Incredible. Nothing you can do about it, Belinda. There's no good shrugging your shoulders and throwing your hands in the air.
I enjoyed it. It's a very subjective sport, and that's why you have 9 judges.
It is very subjective. And we move on. This pair coming into the free dance in 7th place, representing America, Elizabeth Punsalan and Jerod Swallow. They've been national champions for the last 3 years.
Unusual in starting with the slow piece, but it worked brilliantly. Very intricate footwork there. Wonderful edge use. Entwining their legs and turning at the same time.
The American combination. Husband and wife team of Elizabeth Punsalan and Jerod Swallow to the music Homage a Piazzolla.
Not one mistake in this routine, and it's a very hard piece of music to portray. I think that they moved through intensity and lightness in this piece really, really well, and it probably would have taken a lot of self-motivation. They would have had a lot of self-cues and self-keys to be able to make that work. My only criticism is that they actually skated, did regular forward crossovers around a lot of the corners, and then did a lot of the very, very difficult footwork down the straight of the rink. But other than that, gee, the ice coverage was fantastic. The speed, I don't know how fast you could tell the boards are going by at home, but that was pretty quick.
Very, very smartly indeed. Here they are again, and even in slow motion.
Okay, these are the crossovers around the corner, and then start into the steps or the lifts again. And but the intensity and the feeling and the emotion through not just their faces, not just their hands, but, you know, running right through the whole body, and the lines that they were creating were very, very nice. Her lines mingle with his lines, and you get a complete picture across the ice. That is very difficult.
She's a little bit like you. She's a bit superstitious. She ties her right skate first for good luck. I think you tied your left, did you not?
Yes, everybody knows it's the left foot first, even shoes.
The marks for Punsalan is Swallow.
While we have a look at these scores, I've got an official announcement as to why the lighting failed. We might be seeing this person again. The remote control switch of the lighting system was accidentally touched. However, it's done. Now, can they catch Fusar-Poli and Margaglio of Italy? No, they cannot. Punsalan and Swallow are in second place at the moment, and now the time has come for resurfacing. Then we'll be counting down the top 5 and finding out gold, silver and bronze. It doesn't matter who you are, you will eventually.
I think that the judges have really got to consider the idea that champions do have to get beaten in ice dance to be able to keep it as a sport and keep it alive. I mean, it's just not possible for someone to stay that dominant for so long.
There's one pair too, I think we haven't forgotten, but we haven't mentioned enough, and that is the French pair of Gwendal Peizerat and Marina Anissina. Now, they're coming into this free program in third place. They've got to be a chance of silver.
Yes, they do. I mean, it's really, at the moment, it's their bronze medal. They've really been third all the way through in the compulsories and in the original dance, and it's the pressure that they're going to be feeling from Bourne and Kraatz from underneath them in fourth place that's going to make the difference. But certainly a little bit like the men's event, a little bit like the pairs event, almost it's not going to be decided, I don't think, until, you know, Krylova and Ovsyannikov skate, and they're second last.
Let's put the seatbelts on and get ready for some sensational entertainment. This for the gold, silver and bronze. Remember, the Russians have dominated this event totally, except for 1984, when Torval and Dean gave us that memorable 4 minutes with Bolero. So now we come to the French pair first. Marina Anissina and Gwendal Peizerat. Anissina began competing internationally in the sport back in 1990. Been a few changes as far as teams are concerned, but here they are, having a crack at a medal to the music of Romeo and Juliet.
Seconds, and now the dancing begins. Struggle, but doing very well.
Marina Anissina and Gwendal Peizerat. Another exciting performance as we count down to gold. Marina is one of these extraordinarily talented sportswomen who comes from a fine sporting family. Her father represented the Soviet Republic in ice hockey, and her mother skated in the 72 Sapporo Olympics in pairs. In fact, placed 6th for the USSR. And she might just do a little better than that tonight.
It was an extraordinary performance. It was actually very mixed. It was the heartbreak at the very beginning. I think she's a wonderful actress, and then there was the joy in the middle of the program, and then the anguish. I just felt that it just didn't quite finish. I wasn't sure whether it finished when they were still together or when we had the tragedy of the death of both Romeo and Juliet, and probably that's my only criticism. That and the she sustained his position just near the end of the program, which I thought was risky and very, very difficult.
Would that 35 seconds at the start, where they virtually did very little, cost them at all? Was that construed as what, time wasting?
Well, I think that it's time wasting. I think that the judges will have a dilemma on their hand here. They've got a very well skated, acted out. Here's this piece here. She's holding his body weight, extraordinary strength for that. I personally think 35 seconds is a little bit long to start the dance, but then when they got into it, the emotion and the passion of it was very, very complete.
The marks for Anissina and Peizerat. Technical merit.
Technical merit scores first. Oh, these are excellent. As you can see, as the performances get better, so too do these scores, and that's going to place them, no doubt, in first position with 4 pairs remaining. Look at that presentation. There are 5/8. There's a 5/9 from the French judge. That places them in first position. Marina, Anissina and Gwendal Peizerat from France. Now, coming onto the ice and representing Canada, a moment of truth for Shae-Lynn Bourne and Victor Kraatz. They had an extraordinary run with national titles. What can they do in the Olympics? Combination of Reel Around the Sun, Louise, and River Dance. Dressed in the Celtic green.
Hang on to your hats, this is quick. To hold. Very strong edges from Victor. And the hydroblading moves.
bypass the judges.
Using the phrasing of the music very well. Move made famous by this pair. Hydroblading move.
Now that is one crowd-pleasing tandem. What a combination. And what a performance.
Of the three river dances, this is easily the quickest, the strongest, and the most technically difficult across the ice tonight. I don't think it's going to catch Anissina and Peizerat, but I think that the technical difficulty of this dance should really give it a good run for its money. Perhaps a little bit out of time. I felt that Shae-Lynn was just behind or chasing the music, and then fractionally in front of it, you know, in places, and that could have been a little bit to do with nerves and the pressure that she's felt through this entire season, to do with this whole judging fracas.
Yeah, she's had plenty to say about it. Victor originally came from Germany. He was born in Berlin, moved to Canada in 1987.
And here's the opening step sequence. Look at the unison. Again, this is slow motion. Look how together they are. I think that this is the step sequence of the dance event, that one little piece there. Absolutely terrific. Such good unison. And hydroblading. Now, this is something they've actually trademarked, where one leans on the other and they sustain each weight through the centre between the two of them. And it was very Irish. And did you feel like you're in the meadows with them in the middle bit, Sandy?
The meadows or the paddocks?
Yeah, the paddocks, whatever they are.
Paddocks, they're called in Australia, yes. While that's happening, I'm just keeping an eye on Grishuk and Platov, who are on the ice, but now here come the marks. And Anissina and Peizerat hold top spot.
5-5, 5-7, 5-7.
And there's the marks for technical merit. The special cheerio goes out from Victor. Got a 5-9 from the Polish judge. And that places him in second spot behind Anissina and Peizerat. Now, this is one difficult task. The defending champions, Olympic champions, European champions, and world champions. Pasha Grishuk and Evgeni Platov, dancing to their free dance music entitled Memorial.
same position for so much of the rink.
Well, that is how you defend a gold medal. That is just awesome.
And she knows it.
That is unbelievable.
She was glued to him that entire performance. I think it's emotionally taken a lot out of her. Very, very tense feeling in the auditorium. Not anything to do with their placing, just to do with the emotion that she was putting out. The two of them were putting out right into the auditorium. Quite spine-chilling, isn't it?
Oh, it's almost eerie, and now the fans really appreciating what they've just witnessed, and the bouquets are coming thick and fast. And I think obviously the pressure that's been on this duo, when you are the defending champions, when you are the world champions, when you're the European champions, there's got to be considerable pressure, especially after the performance of their countrymen last night in Krylova and Ovsyannikov.
That was such a sad, dark piece, and she was just so close to him the whole time. Some very, very difficult manoeuvres and so slow. He will see some of them here. Look how close their feet are. They're never really letting go hands. They never skate apart. Even when they do the twizzles, they're nearly holding on. This was so easy. And it's not easy. They just made it look easy. And third time for good measure. Inside edge, outside edge on the right foot.
Got to be looking at some perfect scores here.
Absolutely no mistakes. Pasha still can't cope with the performance that she's just given. Tarasova, her coach, they're very, very emotional. This is going to be, I think, 2 gold medals for her.
Well, let's have a look. Well, first of all, technical merit. These scores are going to be very, very interesting. 5 9s to 5-7 from the Canadian judge.
5-8 and 5-8.
She is absolutely drained, and here they come. Here they come. 2 6s, 2 perfect scores from the Italian judge and from the French judge. There are the champions at the moment. Pasha Grishuk and Evgeni Platov. What a performance. And they have said to their countrymen, over to you. It's now up to Anjelika Krylova and Oleg Ovsyannikov. On the ice, dancing to the Carmen Suite. Certainly very different from Grishuk and Platov, but another eye-catching performance, this time from Krylova and Ovsyannikov.
The high drama of Carmen on the ice, and I think she looks like the perfect Carmen. I do think that there are a couple of glitches, and they may have left the door open for Bourne and Kraatz even at that point. And wonderful dress.
Let's just clarify the situation for people. Grishuk and Platov are currently leading. Bourne and Kraatz are in second spot. So this could be where the silver medal is decided here and now. We've got one pair still to come out on the ice. But at the moment, Bourne and Kraatz have silver. It all depends on the judges and what they do with Ovsyannikov and Krylova.
Some of the lifts that this pair did, Anjelika Krylova, the positions were mind-boggling, and the balance, they're on about 1/8 of an inch. It's not very much space. We'll see some of them in the replays, I'm hoping. And he's chasing Carmen at this point, and she's just taunting him. Marvellous stuff. Such speed across the ice. The Russian ice dancers, just fantastic technique. Like Ilia too, it's technique all the way. And that gives them ability to really express the music. Compared to what we saw earlier on the night, it's absolute quality.
Well, they're all very good to reach an Olympic standard, but this is just something else. These last 5, and particularly these 2 Russian pairs, Grishuk and Platov, picking up 2 6s, 2 perfect scores. Krylova certainly not showing the emotion that Pasha showed, but Pasha does want to be an actress. And this is a tense weight, isn't it? Because they were second to them in the European Championships. They've been the bridesmaids. And there are the people who are going to make the decision, the judges, deciding their fate. And you can see there, we mentioned earlier in the night how far apart they're spread, probably 30 metres down one side of the ring. So they could very easily miss something when they're that far away. Are they going to catch Grishuk and Platov? Here come the marks. Firstly for technical merit, topping 5'8". Now for presentation. They'll need something extraordinary if they are.
Presentation 5'8", 5'9".
No, they're not. But it does place them in second position. That pushes Bourne and Kraatz into third. Grishuk and Platov lead. Krylova and Ovsyannikov in second spot. Bourne and Kraatz third. Anissina and Peizerat are in fourth. And so the final pair coming onto the ice for the night. Irina Lobacheva. She turns 25 on Wednesday. Wouldn't a perfect performance here be the ideal present? With her, her partner, Ilia Averbukh. Again from Russia. The music is Jesus Christ Superstar.
Wonderful, intricate footwork, very smooth.
What a way to finish with Irina Lobacheva and Ilia Averbukh of Russia. And this is a marvellous climax. Still gold, silver and bronze undecided. What a night.
Absolutely fantastic skating. I thought that this program was actually perfectly costumed, and I had the real feeling of what they were doing. I think perhaps the free dance itself was maybe slightly lightweight when you weigh it up against Grishuk and Platov, and then Krylova and Ovsyannikov, which was such a strong, dramatic performance from Ovsyannikov and Krylova, and such a tense, sad performance, but brilliant.
It's going to be a very, very tight finish because Anissina and Peizerat are certainly in with a big medal chance. Bourne and Kraatz are there, and so too Lobacheva and Averbukh. This could really change things.
And here come again the strong footwork of the Russians, their strength of their edge, their technique, their flow. Actually all over the rest of the world as far as depth in ice dancing goes. Makes you wonder how many more at home are just as good. Easily into their lifts and coming out. Look at that running edge, always a running edge, and a very strong push into the very next skate.
Well, their scores are coming through now. We'll wait and see if they're going to be good enough to medal and what effect they will have on those chasing gold, silver and bronze. I think, look at those. Grishuk and Platov are going to be successful, and Pasha, I believe, is down with Pat at the moment. Pat?
Sandy, she certainly is. She's been crying with their tears of joy. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Olympic history. Did you ever dream about this?
Of course, yeah, it was my dream. It was my biggest dream to make a history.
Yeah, we're just confirming now from the judges you won the gold medal, but I think you knew that, didn't you?
Well, sorry. I mean, of course, we were confident when we were coming here to Olympics because we've been working hard. Our program was extremely difficult and brand new with all the stuff and all the movements we brought to the ice dancing to improve the sport, to develop the sport. And, you know, we just came here, we were perfectly ready and we were confident, but we just wanted to skate our best and just have fun out there. And of course, it was our dream to win this gold medal.
You said if it was possible that your free program had improved after the Europeans, and it obviously did. You were sensational out there tonight.
Well, it's been improving all year, tell you honestly, because in the beginning we made it, that was completely different program when we did it in October, first competition. Then every competition we were working hard and we were doing some changes in the program, and finally we make it like at the Europeans, which was a couple weeks ago. So since that we didn't change anything, we've just been improving and improving.
Now you're obviously delighted that you've turned down this movie offer with Robert De Niro.
Well, yeah, I had to turn down the movie with De Niro, directed by John Frankenheimer, and I'm glad that Karolina Witt take my role because I had to turn it out because of Olympics, and you know, I'm sure she will do a great job, and she's my idol, and you know, I've heard she's doing okay.
What about the future? What's left?
Well, I'm looking forward to become an actress in Hollywood. I have a contract right now, and I'm just, you know, looking forward to, and you know, to do some movies with famous actors and skate professional with Evgeni.
And what about Evgeni? We've been chatting away here. This is a fabulous night for you. You've created Olympic history. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How hard has it been to get this far?
It was very hard. I can't explain you. It was really hard, and pressure was high, very high, and but we did it. I'm so happy.
I was going to ask you both about that. The pressure coming into you. No one has ever won two back-to-back Olympic golds, and you hadn't been beaten for so long. Did you think you were a little vulnerable?
I think so. Yeah, I think we right now in the top of figure skating, and I think so many skaters and people will remember us like valuable skaters.
Now, just quickly, I know the world's media want to speak to you, but you're still crying. Why were you crying so much? Just so happy?
Yeah.
Congratulations, a fabulous effort.
Thank you.
Say hello to Australia.
Thank you.
Next my vacation.
Well, you're headed, Sandy. That's where they're headed for vacation. Great scenes down here.
Fantastic, Paddy. Well done. That's great to be able to speak with Evgeni Platov and Pasha Grishuk. Now, the official placings, Krylova and Ovsyannikov coming in second. Kraatz and Bourne did finish third in the free, but that wasn't good enough to climb above Anissina and Peizerat. There you can see Bourne and Kraatz fourth, Lobacheva, Averbukh 5, and we move down to those in the top 10. But really, the story is with the two Russians, Grishuk and Platov. The two Russian pairs, I should say, Grishuk and Platov, and Krylova and Ovsyannikov. Well, that is how you defend a gold medal. That is just awesome.
And she knows it.